I'm really glad that Mr. Jarvis is back. Mr. and Mrs. Raffles is the second episode of the fourth season of the Doris Day Show. This is directed by Tokar, and there will be some spoilers as I discuss what happens in this. I won't discuss everything, but I'll probably mention a few spoiler points. It starts off really sweetly with Doris needing to go to the post office quite late at night. So Mr. Jarvis, probably reluctantly, agrees to accompany her for safety, and they walk past this jeweler's, and the door is open. And they shut the door, which seems like a ridiculous decision, but as they do that, the alarm sounds, and they get into a little bit of trouble, but there are some character witnesses, mostly for Doris, of course, and it seems like things are fine. They'll put it behind them, but something happens. Something is planted on Mr. Jarvis. I know I said spoilers, but I won't go into a tremendous amount of detail. But they both find themselves embroiled in a crime. We have a great scene where Mr. Jarvis actually goes to today's world to tell Doris about this because, okay, I said spoilers, so I'll explain it. While they're in the lineup waiting for the character witnesses for Doris, the actual thief plants the diamonds in Mr. Jarvis's pocket, and of course he realizes this and goes to tell Doris the next day at today's world. And the plan that they come up with is to go into the jeweler's to pretend to buy something. And when the jeweler is away getting this item, to plant the jewels back in the case. Honestly, doesn't seem like the best approach, but at the same time, I genuinely don't know what the other option would have been. The right option, of course, would be to go to the police and say, hey, somebody's planted this on me. But considering they were suspects the night before, that's not going to go down well. So I think they were definitely stuck between a rock and a hard place. And absolutely, Mr. Jarvis was not happy about any of it, needless to say. But I also feel like he cares for Doris now. We have a scene at the very end, just jumping right to the final scene, where Doris needs to go out to the post office again and is quite late at night. And she's just telling Mr. Jarvis that if anything should happen to her, these are the things that he should do. And my first thought then was, why are you leaving your children late in the middle of the night on their own? But of course, Toby and Billy just don't exist anymore. They just don't exist, which is a tremendous shame. But as I was saying, she was telling Mr. Jarvis this, and he, again, probably reluctantly, but he did accompany her late at night. I think he does care about her. And I love Mr. Jarvis. It's nice to see a familiar face again because we do have so many changes with season 4. And I thought it worked really well, and I hope he appears again. Jackie, I'm really getting to like as a character. I really like her. She's not a replacement for Myrna, but I think she could bring a lot of value to the series. Mr. Bennett, I don't really like yet. I don't think he's meant to come across as likable, but I don't know. Time will tell. But at the moment, not loving him as a character, but we'll see how that goes. Mr. and Mrs. Raffles, though, is a pretty good episode, despite the changes with season 4. I am actually enjoying it so far. I know I'm only 2 episodes in, so it is early days, but no real complaints apart from the lack of Toby and Billy. But that aside, Mr. and Mrs. Raffles is definitely an enjoyable episode.